And all of the steps that are downstream, once the schedule is created, they're all manual. Like people are running through the schedule line by line, building them line by line, reviewing it line by line, comparing one schedule to the next one manually line by line. All of these issues cost the industry about $100 billion between North America and Europe alone on a yearly basis. Between the productivity loss, because you're doing this manually and a lot of time is being spent, and the inaccuracies that are in any given schedule. So when I was kind of faced with this on a day-to-day basis throughout my career, I said, well, there must be, something we can do about this. That machine learning and artificial intelligence was just starting to take center stage, and it caught my attention saying, okay, well, there's a lot of historical data in any construction in any construction group, any organization that's been running projects for some time. So why don't we leverage that data? That's what planners do. They go to past projects, they run through them, they try and figure out what this new one will be. Why don't we feed that information to a machine learning such that it's able to predict what those durations should be, and then enhance the rest of the workflows like reviewing a schedule and comparing a schedule. Those are things that right now take up to 40 hours a month from a planner's time or a project manager's time just to do those things on a project.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Chirag Soni, who is the founder of Gantt AI, which is a really cool software tool. And we love builders on this podcast. And so anytime we find an AI solution that's going to help them get what they need done faster, I'm all ears. So tell us a bit of the story here. How did you stumble into this space, and how did you get started with the company you founded?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody. Like Andrew said, my name is Chirag Soni. I'm the founder, CEO of Gantt AI. How did I stumble into this space? That's interesting. I mean, my background's in mechanical engineering, so I went into university to pursue mechanical engineering. After graduation, I kind of started working as a project manager at an engineering firm up in Sudbury, Ontario. I don't know if most people know the space, but it's north of Toronto, about 4 hours. Mostly mining happens there, and I was working for a small firm that was supporting the mining infrastructure in that city. I spent about 4 years as a project manager, project engineer, got my license as a PN, got my certification as a project management professional, then eventually moved into the consulting space, working for a consulting firm in the Greater Toronto area, working on larger projects this time around as a construction manager, handling anywhere up to $150 million worth of project portfolio, larger footprints, 1.5 million square feet, working on light industrial projects. And then I moved into an owner firm, working as a director of project management, leading up to $1 billion worth of portfolio nationally, rolling out tens of new retail facilities on a yearly basis. Through all of that experience, one thing was always a bit of a challenge for me. It was just the communications around project parameters, project timelines, project costs. How are we executing projects? Who's doing what? And are we actually keeping on top of what's really happening? Because a lot of that just goes in emails or in people's head, on phone conversations, which is great. It's good for efficiency. It's good for making sure that people are aligned. But at the same time, you don't have any traceability in there. You don't have any visibility downstream. No analytics can be run to actually learn from what's went wrong on a project. And basically, from my perspective, the most fundamental tool that enables all of this dialogue and execution of projects was a project schedule. So project schedule, if you're familiar from a construction space, it's 95% of the time in a Gantt chart format. All of the activities get laid out from a start date to the end date, and people break it down between different levels of project schedule. So it's level 1, 2, 3, and so on, depending on how much more detailed do you want the schedule to get. Now, these schedules, are put together by very informed planners, but it's still intuitive, sometimes gut-based durations that are put together. They have historical data, and the data is available in their head, or maybe they do some simple analysis on it, but it's not very sophisticated to a point where we can look at what the exact predictability for a duration of a task looks like. So subjective durations. And all of the steps that are downstream once the schedule is created, they're all manual. Like people are running through the schedule line by line, building them line by line, reviewing it line by line, comparing one schedule to the next one manually line by line. All of these issues cost the industry about $100 billion between North America and Europe alone on a yearly basis. Between the productivity loss because you're doing this manually and a lot of time is being spent, and the inaccuracies that are in any given schedule. So when I was kind of faced with this on a day-to-day basis throughout my career, I said, well, there must be something we can do about this. The machine learning and artificial intelligence was just starting to take center stage, and it caught my attention, saying, okay, well, there's a lot of historical data in any construction in any construction group, any organization that's been running projects for some time. So why don't we leverage that data? That's what planners do. They go to past projects, they run through them, they try and figure out what this new one will be. Why don't we feed that information to a machine learning model such that it's able to predict what those durations should be, and then enhance the rest of the workflows like reviewing a schedule and comparing a schedule. Those are things that right now take up to 40 hours a month from a planner's time or a project manager's time just to do those things on a project. We can automate that using artificial intelligence, large language models, and then accelerate the time it takes to actually get to the output, so people can reposition their focus away from these grunt work that basically is happening, and then focus on actually delivering value where it really matters. So that's how we started Gantt AI.
I love it. And I talk to so many guys in the construction space, and that is a huge pain point.
Right.
Um, okay, here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Will your tool be able to schedule material deliveries and the subs to come in, like the electrical contractor to come in on this date, the 2x4s to be delivered on this date? Will your tool have some sort of functionality around that?
That's a great question. I mean, fundamentally, when we're developing a project schedule, you want to understand how the project is going to unfold, right? That's typically done by people who are planning the project either at an owner level or a general contractor level. Now, when you're building that project schedule, let's say, even in building the project schedule, there are two key parameters besides just understanding what has happened historically, what is the scope of the project, how are you going to build this project, what is the delivery mechanism you're going to use. But beyond that, you also have to factor in material deliveries. You have to factor in weather information, what kind of impact you're going to see on your project because of any potential weather issues. So right now, Gantt AI is focused on allowing the users to build the schedule first. So once the model is trained, you go into our platform, you just type in, hey, I want this new project coming up, give me a schedule. I want a level 2 schedule. So once you hit generate, it will list out all of the things you need to look into and all of the durations associated with those tasks. It'll come up with a complete schedule. So it'll have dependencies linked. So it'll tell you which task needs to go before which one, what type of overlaps you should look at, what is the probability of accuracy based on historical data of this specific schedule that's being generated. That's baseline. Now the baseline is done. You need to factor in what's going to happen if you run into a weather issue and what is going to happen if your material delivery is delayed. So those things are on our pipeline in terms of implementing within the platform itself. So when these features are rolled out, and we're expecting that to be in 2026, once these are rolled out, you will be able to hit generate on a schedule and already build in the weather analytics for that specific time of year that you are going to have that project run out. And if you have scheduled, or if there will be a task scheduled on a day which has the highest probability of, let's say, rain, for example, if you're scheduling concrete pour in an exposed environment where there's a highest probability of rain, it'll automatically expand the duration of that specific task to allow to adjust for instances of rain. So that's one part. The other part around delivery, it will factor in what is the current lead time for specific materials. And it'll know that based on the information that it gathers, that it identifies what is the lead time and factor that into your procurement stages of the project. So it will say, when you're buying 2x4s, here's the lead time for this amount of volume that you will have to buy for the specific project, right? So those would be available. Now, then scheduling your contractors. How do we actually let the subcontractors know that they need to show up for this time? So that's where this platform's focus is, to be the unified solution for the entire scheduling industry, or entire construction industry, excuse me. What I mean by that is Right now, general contractors build in Microsoft projects or Primavera P6 or Excel sometimes, and then share PDF versions or different versions of those files with subcontractors. So they're not really talking to each other on the platform. They're going and communicating via emails, right, or via phone calls. So when this solution is implemented in any of contractors' workflow, you will be able to talk to your subcontractor directly through the platform. So you can add a subcontractor onto specific tasks so that they'll know when they need to show up right from the platform. So that's where the piece about scheduling work comes in, where once they see that this is when they need to be, they could be added on to that specific task. They'll get the visibility and notification saying, I need to be here at this date. So that's how you can also schedule the work that happens on site.
This is so cool. I'm so excited. I know we're not going to have enough time to fit everything in, but I want to keep this conversation going. Tell us who you're targeting right now. Like, what stage are you at in the business,
Yeah,
and who is your ideal client at the moment?
absolutely. Yeah, we're working with subcontractors and general contractors, typically mid to large firms. When we're looking at general contractors, what we really help them with is create a predictive scheduling model, right? The way it works is we take their historical data, whatever format it is in, PDF, Excel, doesn't matter, we'll take it all. We take that data, we've got built in engines that'll extract information from a PDF, extract it from Excel, normalize all of that so it understands this is concrete pouring, this is form work, this is rebar layout, and understands that across all of their historical projects, and then creates a model that'll generate their future schedules for them. So that's what we help general contractors with, fundamentally speaking, in terms of kind of doing a drastic switch over from how they schedule projects today to how they will with Gantt AI, where their planners spending tens of hours trying to put this manually or take a template and then move the template into this file and then try and delete and edit the template to match this specific project. We remove all of that. Once you click generate, it'll be customized for this specific project. So that's general contractors. For the subcontractors, when they receive a progress schedule from a general contractor, they typically get it in a PDF format. So our PDF extraction engine is a huge hit with the subs. We've been working with some of the largest out in the US. They take a PDF schedule that's available through general contractors, run it through our solution, and are able to get insights in terms of changes. What is their scope? What are the tasks that were deleted? What are the new tasks that have been added from the previous version of that schedule? What are the tasks that had changed in durations, compressions, accelerations? All of those things are summarized in a clean report for them. This process, Andrew, right now takes them 40 hours, 40. Their project planner sits down, takes a PDF, another PDF, sometimes tens or hundreds of pages, line by line, taking it out of PDF, putting it into Excel, and then running formulas in Excel to find the differences, right? All of that is now compressed down to 30 minutes with Gantt AI. Now you could just take your two schedules, upload it into the platform, run the analysis. It'll spit out compare output, which will give you all of this information. And then you can also share it. As a subcontractor, what you need to do once you have this analysis is to share it with the GC so that they can understand what is the impact of the schedule change on them. Sometimes there are claims associated with that, delay claims, etc. So there's a share button, you click it, share it with your general contractor. They'll get the report, they'll get the file. The analysis is done in 30 minutes. You don't have to spend hours or days on this anymore. So those are our two main customer profiles right now.
I love it. And while you were talking, I'm thinking about some of the commercial contractors I've talked to who their project managers are not actually getting to manage projects because
Right.
they're too busy doing all this other ancillary stuff, including estimation, which is another big one that comes up. So I love when we talk about AI, people are afraid of it replacing people. And I'm like, it's not replacing anybody. It's leveraging your best employees. And so it's a beautiful thing that now as my company grows, I don't need to hire more project managers. I can keep the ones I have if they're good, and I can
Right.
leverage a tool like Gantt AI to do more volume. Yeah.
And have them focus on things where they really add value, right? And I've spoken to hundreds of GCs and subs in the last year and a half as we've been rolling out Gantt AI. And in discussions with all of them, they say that the PM morale is low because they have to do so much documentation work, which is not their skill set. They didn't sign up to be administrators. They want to be on site. They want to manage projects. They're good at understanding the technical challenges of scheduling things and complexities of the site that that's where their focus should be. That's where they really bring value. They don't bring value in running through a project by project schedule line by line and finding the differences. So having something that takes away something that your team members don't like, and as a byproduct, sometimes may not be as good as doing that work. Right? They might not be able to catch all of those issues because they're really not into the whole exercise of manually running through these one by one. So accuracy bump up is a huge. Just along, if you leave alone the productivity piece where you don't waste that much time, but the accuracy piece is even more critical, right? Let's say you do this manually. Let's say you spend the 40 hours, but there's still a risk of you not catching all of the changes or flagging all of the changes. I'm sure you've seen, or your audience has seen, the construction schedules that are out there, hundreds or thousands of lines sometimes, lots of data on the left side in a table format, Gantt chart, multiple dependency lines on the right side, shared around in a PDF, almost unreadable, without a headache at least. Right. So when you try and find differences in that type of a document, there's a very high risk of oversight. What we do is we remove that completely because you're not
Yep.
it's not happening manually anymore. We're not running through a line by line schedule. We're doing that using optical character recognition, artificial intelligence, large language models. Those are all things that are coming in to help us solve this problem, and let your team do what they're best at.
So where are you guys at in your kind of roadmap and process? So you've obviously built the product. You're uh, have you started taking on clients who are paying a subscription? Like what's your guys kind of roadmap and where you're at in the process?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been very fortunate that we've got a couple of paying customers already. Some who trusted Gantt AI from day one in terms of helping them solve this problem because they reached out to us for these problems, said this is a big issue in the industry and we need to figure out a way at least to help our team. And in the process of us kind of developing the solution for them, they started realizing the potential of the solution, and they've rolled out internally. Hundreds of PMs have started using this type of this platform within their organization. So for the generate part, which is a GC focused, GC specific part where they're building schedules for projects, we've got several high profile enterprise level general contractors who stepped in, and we're building models for them. Okay. And on the subcontractor side, we've got paying customers recurring using our platform month after month, and we're working with them to build and enhance functionality on a monthly basis. Right, we're adding more features, we're adding additional solutions that is really helping them drive their workflow in from all of this manual processes to efficient, organized processes, and set them up for future with Gantt AI. It's not only that you're building and generating schedules in a scheduling platform, but you're also getting data in a structured form. So let's say now, if you're not ready to build in, sophisticated AI models on your data, you will be if you're using Gantt AI because we give you information in a clean, readable format. So we do have active customers. Our solution generally is a pay as you go type of solution. So you're not paying monthly fee on the product. You're paying anytime you use the product to generate, review, or compare any of
Mm-hmm.
your schedules. So you can have the platform sit there, not use it, don't pay anything. You not be penalized for just having Gantt AI in your workflow. You will only pay when you use Gantt AI to actually make the changes or
That's
analyze.
actually brilliant because I'm talking to a bunch like winter time is slow for a lot of these guys,
Right. Yeah.
and a lot of them are basically not getting paid again until the end of January or early February. So
Yeah.
that's good. And the one that I come across, not to poop on anybody's software, but Procore is like goodness gracious, their pricing is so aggressive,
Right.
and I love that pay as you go model. That's really powerful.
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of be fair to Procore, they do a lot more than scheduling. There's a lot that's happening in that platform. However, with us, our focus was to make sure that people are able to use the solution when they need to use the solution. We, as a platform, are not doing much besides helping them generate realistic schedules, review schedules when they come in, and compare those schedules when they have to analyze the differences between them. Besides that, we didn't feel it was necessary or even right to try and have a monthly subscription solution because it just didn't add value. It would add additional friction. And some of the contractors, to your point, they don't have much work happening between January and March. So we don't want to have them just sit there and pay and as an end result not really like the solution that's it's supposed to be helping them, right? So we want to try and align our product as much as we can with the ebbs and flow of the construction industry, and that's what we're trying to do right now with this pay as you go model.
I love it. Talk about ease of use for a second. I love these construction guys. I would go to the ends of the earth for them. A lot of them are not tech savvy. So
Right.
talk about like the ease of use with the tool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at ChatGPT or any of the other kind of AI LLM solutions that are out there, what you basically see is they've kind of really nailed down the ease of use. You're just talking to something, right? You're typing in, you get an answer, you get the output, you work with it. That's more or less how easy it is to use Gantt AI. Once you want the model building, the development all happens in the back end. You don't have to do anything. You just have to give us your schedules. Once we have the schedules, we do the training, we do the cleanup, we do all of that, and then load it into Gantt AI platform. You log in, you just plug in what is the future project size. So under generate, you will go and say size, location, cost, type of project, few other parameters. Hit generate. That's all you do. Right? It's simple drop downs and then one button. Not overly burdensome, not overly complicated, just a few questions and a generate button. Once you click it, the schedule comes up. It's fully populated, all ready to go. And now you can just take that schedule, share it with whoever you want to, review it yourself, download it. You have your schedule ready within literally seconds after plugging that information in. So you don't have to worry about having to build this yourself. So it's extremely easy, if I were to put it that way, to try and build a project schedule. You don't need to learn how to use P6, learn how to use Microsoft projects. You don't need to learn any of that. Just know how to click a button and you'll be there with generating a schedule. Now, of course, you can get a lot more sophisticated than that. Let's say somebody wants to get involved and start editing the schedule. After having that schedule created that simply, our solution is fully editable. So you could go and it's a fully empowered scheduling solution. So it's not just that it displays the schedule. You can think about Microsoft projects in that manner. You can go in and type in the new task, add dependencies, dependencies, add resources, delete resources. Anything you can do in a scheduling tool, you can do in Gantt AI, but you don't necessarily have to know how to do any of it because the AI platform enables you to have a schedule that's already built and preloaded with that information from day one. But if you wanted to get
Mm.
into that level of detail, you can. Then we have built in, for even further simplicity, an AI agent. A small chat window. You type in a question. Once the schedule is generated, you can ask, "Hey, what are all the concrete tasks in my project?" And I'll list that very clearly for you. So you don't even have to scroll through the entire schedule to see the information that you need to. You can just get a snippet of that right in your chat. So from a simplicity to use, it's very, very simple, very, very easy, and it can scale with the type of user, right? If our user is somebody who doesn't want to get involved into all of that, just wants a schedule, understand what it is, it'll do that for you. It'll build a schedule. You can ask questions in a chat, you'll get the answers. But if our user is a sophisticated project manager, planner who wants to get into the details of the schedule, they can do that through our scheduling environment. They can go in and actually get into the details of how the schedule is built, and they can change it to their night convenience. I'll say one more thing and I'll pause. Um, Once the schedule is built and the schedule is built using our generated model, our trained model, the beautiful thing about Gantt AI, it always stays up to date. So as long as you
Mm.
use Gantt AI, right? So you go in, let's say we train on the last 3 years of your projects. And then now you're using Gantt AI, you're building a new schedule, new project comes in, you generate it. And then the schedule generated says 10 days duration for a concrete task. Okay. But you disagree as a planner, contractor, your experience tells you that in this specific situation, in this specific location, it'll be 14 days. You go in and update the model's prediction right in the Gantt chart, just like you would in an Excel table. You'll say, no, it's 14 days. And then once you type in 14 days, automatically the model learns from this. You don't have to do anything. It just now knows that, hey, by the way, my prediction was 10. The user thinks it's 14. Let's learn from it, from the future. So in the next time you generate the schedule, it'll already have that 14-day input in there and it'll update its prediction for you the next time around. So you have to train it once. It'll stay up to date as long as you keep using Gantt AI.
Such a powerful tool. So, I don't want to like get ahead of you at all, but is there a free trial? Do you guys have a limited time offer? Is there something that the listeners could do to kind of try out the tool?
Absolutely. Yeah, they could reach out to myself. We do offer a free trial. They will get a certain number of credits as the platform is credit based. So once you once you want to try out the platform, you reach out to myself. You get a bunch of free credits, and then you'll be able to start using platform day one. Right? You can start comparing, reviewing schedules that you're getting. For the generate part, we'd have to create a custom solution for you. So that's also something that we can discuss about. But if you want to review any schedules that are coming to you in PDF, if you want to compare any schedules that you're getting from general contractors, that's a free credit trial. You can start today if you wanted
I love it. Well, Chirag, we're going to have to continue this conversation at another time, and
to.
I'll
Sure.
we'll get you scheduled to come back on because I'm having a lot of fun here. In the meantime, where can people go if they want to check out the tool?
Absolutely. So they can check out our website. It's Gantt, GANTTAI.com. So GanttAI.com, that's our website. It'll talk about all of these three features that I mentioned. You can sign up on the forum that'll reach out to myself, and then we can continue conversations after that. Or you can reach out directly to myself. Email ID is chirag@ganttai.com. It's CHIRAG@gantai.com.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but we're going to have you back on and do an encore. So thank you.
Absolutely. Amazing. Thanks.